Traditional research is about systematically learning new things about a specific topic, often using disciplinary methods and approaches. In contrast, community-based research is trying to solve a real problem and is less worried about creating new knowledge or following disciplinary conventions. The problem drives the research. How you approach research and go about collecting data should depend on the research question, the best and most practical way to answer it, the resources available to you to do the research, and the ways the information will be used and shared. The realities of working with a variety of different people means that research methods are something to be negotiated. There may be a tension between the rigor demanded in academic research and the real-world practicalities of community needs and resources. We'll outline a few common approaches here, but a note of caution. This is just a short introduction. You will need to spend more time on your own to learn about particular research approaches and methods. Desktop research is done at your computer or library. Desktop research can include literature reviews or environmental scans. Literature reviews involve gathering, reading, summarizing, and analyzing relevant journal articles and technical reports. Literature reviews offer a comprehensive look at existing research regarding a particular question. Environmental scans are designed to learn about existing practices in other organizations. Before initiating a new program, community partners might want to know how other organizations implemented similar programs or what programs already exist in a region. This often involves searching the internet for websites or reports put out by other organizations and reviewing these with an eye to the key practices being examined. Phone interviews or email exchanges can provide further information. Observational research can be designed to be experimental or non-experimental. An experimental design involves the controlled testing of the relationship between independent and dependent variables. Research involving biophysical and ecological systems is often experimental. In social science research, we might compare two groups. For example, one group of children who took part in an environmental education program and one group who didn't. Participants are usually randomly assigned to a control group, perhaps controlling for age, sex, or other variables. A non-experimental design means that variables cannot be controlled easily by the researcher. Instead, other systematic approaches are needed to draw conclusions, such as manipulating and analyzing existing data, case studies, surveys, interviews, or focus groups. The real-world nature of community-driven questions means that, in practice, non-experimental research approaches are more common. There are both quantitative and qualitative approaches to research. Quantitative research measures and counts the phenomenon you're interested in. For example, perceptions and attitudes can be measured through a survey with Likert scales, or actual behavior can be measured through observations or sales data. Biophysical phenomena in the natural and physical sciences are most often quantitative. Qualitative research examines data that can't easily be expressed as a number, such as words, preferences, outcomes, education, and so on. It lets you gain an in-depth understanding of people's experiences, perspectives, and attitudes. Sometimes you can use both quantitative and qualitative approaches, so-called mixed methods, to get a broad understanding of an issue. Deciding about the approach you use should flow from the research question, but you will also think about who will use the findings and the resources that you have available. Time, money, and other skills limit what you can accomplish with a research project. After you develop the research questions and approach, you need to map out a work plan to see how your project fits with the time and resources you have. It's also important to consider whether you have the necessary skills for your project. You need to determine what skills are needed and whether you or other people on the research team have them or can learn them. If a project requires expertise in geographic information systems, then you either need to have these skills or set the time aside to learn them. As student researchers, it is important for you to be aware of how your methods influence what conclusions you can draw from the data you've collected. You should think carefully about the research design and how you will analyze the data before you start a research project.